ఒకసారి మీకు పంపిస్తాను చూడండి.
హలో ఇది వస్తుంది మీరు మాట్లాడదు నేను యూట్యూబ్ షేర్ చేయండి.
విత్ టైం పీరియడ్ ఎగ్జామ్ టైం పీరియడ్
మీరు వస్తుందా
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Is my voice audible? I'm Dr. Swapna, Associate Professor, Department of ECE, and convener of the FDP. It gives me immense pleasure to extend my warm welcome to you all to the 2-week FDP program on outcome-based education and National Education Policy 2020, organized by Department of ECE, CVR College of Engineering. At this juncture, I would like to present brief introduction of CVR College of Engineering to the learned participants. CVR College of Engineering, established in 2001 under Cherrakutti Education Society, is a pioneer in providing quality education to students. CVRCE is ranked among the top few premier institutions in the state of Telangana and holds NARF ranking less than 200. The college is autonomous under the UGC and accredited by the NAC with grade A. College promotes academic research and has its own journal, CVR Journal of Science and Technology, to disseminate research content. About my department, the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering was started in 2001. Presently, it offers BTech program with an intake of 120, 2 MTech programs with specializations in VLSI system design and embedded systems with an intake of 18 each. The BTech ECE program is currently accredited by NBA under Tier 1 institutions for 6 years from 2022. MTech VLSA design and MTech embedded system programs are accredited by the NBA under Tier 1 in 2022 for 3 years. The Department of ECE has received 1.85 crores of funds till now from external agencies such as UGC, AICTE, DST, DRDO, ECIL, NRSC for research activities. Now, let me brief you about the significance and the topics covered in this faculty development program. As we gather today online, we embark on a significant journey of learning and transformation, aimed at receiving the quality of education and aligning our teaching methodologies with the evolving demands of the 21st century. One of the core pillars of NEP 2020 is the emphasis on outcome-based education. OBE is a student-centered learning philosophy that focuses on measuring student performance through outcomes. These outcomes are not limited to academic achievements, but also include the development of skills, values, and attitudes necessary for students to thrive in their personal and professional lives. As we delve into intricacies of OBE and NEP 2020 over the course of this program, it is essential to understand the symbiotic relationship between the two. The NEP 2020 provides a framework that supports and enhances the implementation of OBE. It encourages flexibility in the curriculum, multidisciplinary education, and a focus on critical thinking and creativity, key components that resonate with the principles of OBE. The success of any educational reform lies in its effective implementation, and this is where the role of faculty becomes paramount. During this program, we will explore various aspects of OBE, including the formulation of learning outcomes, designing curricula, assessment strategies, and the use of technology in education. We will also discuss the key highlights of NEP 2020 and how we integrate its principles into our teaching practices. In conclusion, I would like to extend my gratitude to our Honorable Chairman, Dr. Raghava V. Cherrakutti, for his encouragement and financial support in organizing this FDP. Principal Dr. K. Ramamohan Reddy for his support and guidance, our head of the department, Dr. K. Edukundalu. I thank resource persons, Dr. P.S. Rama Srikant, Director Ranks and Accreditation with SAPI, and Dr. Chandu D.S., Assistant Director Ranks and Accreditation with SAPI, for readily accepting our invitation to share their knowledge and expertise, and participants for making this program possible. I should mention the overwhelming response we received from the faculty community. The response was so huge that we closed the registrations at 2,500 count. We have participants from all over India and international participants from Saudi Arabia. I thank all the principals of various colleges and heads of the departments who had registered for the program, and faculty from all 29 states, to name few: Nagaland, Manipur, Chhattisgarh, Uttarakhand, West Tripura, Puducherry, Goa, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. Let us make the most of this opportunity to enhance our knowledge and skills, and to contribute meaningfully to the advancement of our education system. Thank you, and I wish you all a fruitful and enriching learning experience. Now, my colleague Mr. B. Ramesh would present a brief biodata of the learned resource person.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, all. Let me introduce myself. I am Ramesh, Senior Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, CVR College of Engineering. At the outset, I extend to you all a very warm greeting. It is my pleasure to welcome you all for the 2-week faculty development program on transforming education, integrating OBE and NEP 2020, organized by Department of ECE, CVR College of Engineering. It's my honor to introduce today's session speaker, Dr. P.S. Rama Srikant, sir. Dr. P.S. Rama Srikant obtained his doctoral degree from IIT Guwahati and has 17 years of teaching and research experience. Currently, he is a professor in School of Mechanical Engineering, Vellore Institute of Technology, Andhra Pradesh. He also serves as a director, rankings and accreditation. During his tenure, the university was ranked number 1 in the Outlook India Rankings Emerging State Private University, consequently for 2020 and 2023. The university also ranked in the A++ of the Diamond Band in the World Institution Ranking. He is an active researcher with over 130 publications in journals of international repute, 100+ Scopus and Web of Sciences database, and has 17 patents to his credit, 12 published, 5 granted. He has H-index of 23 and I-10 index of 53. Dr. Srikant executed various research and consultancy projects of DST, SERB, Dassault System, Biomer, and other private companies to the tune of 1.4 crore. His areas of specialization include artificial muscle materials, energy harvesting and water purification, honeycomb sandwich structures, polymer composites, sustainable solutions, biomaterials, nanocomposites, 3D printing and additive manufacturing. He has produced 3 PhDs and 1 scholar submitted thesis, and 7 more scholars are working under his supervision. He has authored 20 book chapters. He has attended over 40 international conferences as participant and also as resource persons across 6 countries. He received Bright Young Indian Scientist Travel Award from CSIR and Young Scientist Travel Award from DST thrice. His group has received Youth Innovation Award from the Chief Minister of Odisha 2017. Apart from this, he Also received Best Researcher Award for 2018, 2021, 2022, and 2023 by VIT AP University in the category of publications, patents, and sponsored research. Thank you, sir. And thank you, and over to you, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh. Now, I invite Dr. B.S. Rama Srikanth, Director Ranks and Accreditation with SAPI, to take up the session. At the end of the session, there will be a question and answer session. The participants may post or raise their queries in chat window or in WhatsApp group. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so very good morning to one and all. Namaskaram. So I'm very glad to be invited as a resource person for this 2-week workshop. In fact, I should appreciate uh, Dr. Sumati for her initiative right from almost since 1 month back. She has been in touch, then trying to coordinate my schedules and her schedules. So she has been coordinating with her management, their schedules and our schedules, the faculty schedules and all. And finally, like the number what she was mentioning is 2,500 participants, which is really an overwhelming response. So first of all, I want to congratulate the entire team of CVR College for making, because as they say, like good beginnings always have good ends. So it's a good beginning. So thank you so much for that. And then I also thank Dr. Ramohan Garu, like he also, the principal of the college, he has personally called me and then extended his invitation. So I hope like let us all, it's a learning experience for me as well. See, as I was mentioning, see, there are good number of educated people here, many doctors are there, professors are there, right? So it's not like you're hearing the discussion or the presentations or the topics of national education policy or outcome-based education for the first time. So, but there is always a scope for improvement. There is always a scope for learning and learning from each other. So it's not like you can consider this session more like a knowledge sharing, right, between both the ends of the conduit, right? So with that intention, like the session, the workshop, as you know, is planned for a span of 2 weeks, of which there are topics relating to national education policy and outcome-based education. And all the topics which are there are detailed in the brochure which was circulated. Right. So with this brief note, yeah, and I request all the participants to be interactive. So probably I don't know how the organizers will manage it. If someone has to respond to any questions, probably I think they have devised a mechanism for that. So let us all begin with the presentation. I hope my screen is visible. Can someone give a confirmation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Screen is.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, as I've mentioned, so over the span of 2 weeks, we are going to discuss around 10 different topics. So today is the first session. So the presentation for today would be like, I would be presenting a comprehensive overview of National Education Policy 2020, right? So now, if we carefully observe what has led to the development of or bringing in the policy of national education policy, it's not that all of a sudden it has popped out. See, 1986, the previous education policy was introduced, and then after a gap of 34 years, a new education policy, or in fact, this is the first education policy of the 21st century. So now it is not just a need of India, it's rather a global need. It's a global need, which the United Nations has identified 17 different areas, of which providing quality education occupies fourth position. The first one, I'm not going to delve deep into those topics, but then the first one is no poverty, and then no hunger. So these are different uh, sustainable development goals, of which quality education plays a very important role for the upliftment, development of a country and humanity as well in general. So now, what does the quality education mean of the United Nations? They want to ensure two important words here: inclusive and equitable. These two. Apart from that, the emphasis is on the word quality education. These three, and then promote lifelong learning. So these four, which are a part of sustainable development goal, they occupy a very prominent place in our national education policy, because such a lofty goal, right, which requires a revamping of entire education system, reconfiguring of entire education system, right, but is not possible at individual level or institutional level, but then it should be a national movement, national involvement, right? So India, we also have adopted the goal, all the sustainable development goals, and particularly the sustainable development goal 4 in the year 2015. In fact, let me not enter into the politics part, but it was one of the agendas of the BJP government in 2014 when they went for elections, that they would bring a new educational policy. Means to that emphasis, the political parties were involved to revamp the education system, right? So this is the backdrop of it. So now, if we see, sorry, one second. Yeah, now if we see the world education system, means without additional measures, what would happen by 2030? So 84 million children and youth will be out of school, no education. 300 million students will lack basic numeracy and literacy skills. Let us see what are these basic numeracy and literacy skills. And only 1 in 6 countries will achieve universal secondary education completion target. Universal secondary education means the students of who are eligible for schooling in that country, all the students, children in that school, means, in other words, 100% literacy rate. So for this to happen, all the countries across the globe are taking initiatives. And like India is now playing one of the major role in the global scenario. We need to revamp our education system. So in that direction, you see, the effort towards revamping or giving quality education has started way back immediately after India's independence. So in 1948, Radhakrishnan's committee, and then University Education Cell and Secondary Education Commission was formed in 1952, right? But then the major reforms which have been implemented are 1964 and 1966 India Education Commission, that is Kothari Commission, which is actually primarily bought into the 3-language formula, and then they made like the primary education should plays a very important role. And then 1968 you got minor revision. Then 86 was again a major revamp, right? New education policy, which has brought in two major things, just like the Kothari Commission has brought 3-language formula, that is English, and then national language Hindi we have to learn, and then the regional language, whatever is the 3-language formula. That is the reason, like in a school, we see first language, second language, and third language. Right, that was in fact the result of this Kothari Commission, implementation of the Kothari Commission. And 86 has brought in open education, and the major emphasis is also on the Gandhian philosophy. Right, so open education is like to increase the literacy rate. The people who are not able to go to school, there are many underprivileged areas, there are many villages in the country where if they want a basic educational access, they need to travel to next village or next town or so. So, because of which the dropouts will be high. So they brought open education. And then 1992, during again the Congress regime, I think Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao was probably the Prime Minister. Asya Ramurthy Commission was formed, right? And they made some minor changes in this. And then with respect to this commission in 2009, a Parliament Act was passed, the right to education or compulsory education, you can say, for all the children. And then after that, so in fact, from 1986 to 2020, there is no major revision or revamp in the policy as such. So now 2020, national education policy has been rolled out by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, and the national education policy also has renamed, or they considered that previously it was Ministry of Human Resource and Development, has now been renamed as Ministry of Education. So this is the brief history or look back into national education policy. Overall, if someone has gone through this national education policy document, roughly it is a 65-page document. It is really awesome. And it has got a major quantum jumps in few places, and then a gradual lift in few places. There are escalators in few places. There are lifts in few places. Right, and then we all have got a very important role for gradual implementations. Primarily, the faculty members. In today's session, there are many heads of the department, probably principals, and also professors. We are all the torch bearers for the national education policy to be implemented and to percolate into the system at higher education level and also at the school education level. Right. So moving forward, let us see the major difference between 1986 education policy and then the 2020 NEP. So national policy on education in 1986, the primary emphasis is on access and equity. These are the two words. So what is access? We all know availability. Education should be available for everybody, which is why like they brought the open education policy, right? Through correspondence, they will send the material. Over the year, they will have some contact classes for say a week, right? Once in 6 months, they have a contact class. So availability and equity. Equity is the fairness, in the sense you doesn't discriminate between economically forward, economically backward, socially forward, socially backward. So the right to education should be there for everybody. Right, so in order to bring access was made more easy after 1986, but then equity, in order to push it through into the education system, again 1992 they made a slight modification and brought the Right Education Act, where they made compulsory education, and probably 10 to 15 years back we see the movement of no child labor. All the boards, the placards were displayed outside all the hotels or the shopping complex and all. So in fact, that was an initiative or the move in that direction. So now what is the emphasis? So now availability and fairness, but how about the quality? Everybody is made available, or education is made available to everybody. So now once it is available to everybody, its impact will be seen on the national economy or a GDP, whatever you speak of, or the per capita income, employability, only when we provide quality education. Like it is like eating food and eating nutritious food. Eating food will fill your stomach, but it doesn't nourish you, right? Then available, and similarly, the quality education is what nourishes ourselves, nourishes our mind, nourishes the economy of country, and overall upliftment of the. So quality education, the word quality plays a very, very, very crucial role in the national education policy. In fact, that is the emphasis of national education policy. Now, if you see, as I mentioned, quality is the key word in national education policy. Can anyone guess like how many times the word quality has appeared in the entire policy document? Yeah, probably in chat someone can do it, and then the organizer or the moderator, whoever is interested in that, then just give out. Let us make a little more lively in the discussion rather than one person monotonously speaking for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Probably that will be more encouraging for the speaker as well. Yes, can someone? Yes, it can be a wild guess, you know. It can be a wild guess. Any number? Someone has 100 times, I guess 20,000 times. Yeah, 15 times. Okay, okay, okay. Fine. It's good that people are responding. So now let us see what is the number. It's 147 times. So it's roughly 60-page document. 60-page document, 65. Like if you remove the index and all those, roughly it boils down to say 58 pages. Let us round it to 60 pages. And 60 pages, 147 times. In other words, see, in every page, 2 times he's using the word quality. Average, if you look into. Right? So that is the emphasis given in quality education. So quality education at school level, quality education at higher education level. So what's the other word which appears the most is multidisciplinary. This word multidisciplinary, after quality, this word multidisciplinary appears a maximum number of times. It appears 70 times. Means 60-page document or 58-page document roughly. In every page at least once. Quality, multidisciplinary. What's the third term? Holistic. So these three are, you can say, the prominent words or prominent pillars over which the entire national education policy is carefully designed, right? And they want to implement these, percolate these ideologies at various levels of our education system. So this holistic, it appears roughly around 40 times. So what is holistic? Holistic is not just only education. It includes your emotional balance. It includes your spiritual balance. It includes your cultural pride. Pride. It includes your languages. It includes your arts and drama. So it's a holistic. It's a completely holistic process. So these three things play a vital role in your entire national education policy. What are the three terms? Quality, multidisciplinary, and holistic. Right? So now, the entire policy document, national education policy document, is divided, or you can say presented in 4 sections or 4 chapters, whatever you call it. The first chapter, first part 1, is it discusses about school education. The second one discusses about higher education. The third one focuses on other key areas of focus, which includes like professional education, lifelong learning. We'll look into each of these areas later. So that again has got a 4 subsections, and then finally implementation. What makes a policy success is implementation. And in fact, that is one of the drawback of Indian system. We have got many things on paper, but on ground, when it comes to implementation, probably I don't say a big zero, but then there are many hurdles we face. So implementation of the policy is also a very crucial thing. So these are the 4 chapters or 4 areas you can think of in which the entire policy has been split. So what is the vision of NEP? Yes, the vision of NEP, 3 visions it has got, the national education policy. The first one is you need, what do you say, a policy like which is deeply rooted in the Indian pride. Means you take the pride of being an Indian. They want to make India a Vishwaguru, a global knowledge superpower, in line with our heritage, where we have got the Nalanda University, the Takshashila University, right, where people from across the globe used to come to India to learn. In fact, like I would take the pride and privilege to say, like, we Indians, we have seen the heights of civilization when rest of the world did not even know how to clothe properly. We have seen the heights of civilization, the Indus Valley civilization, the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, right? Wonderful civilizations we have seen. So we need to take pride in being India, right? And then we need to provide it envisions to provide high quality education to all, and the goal of this is making India a global knowledge superpower. Number two, and how to do that? That is possible only when you have got a proper curriculum. So it provides the curriculum framework. Curriculum framework should go hand in hand with pedagogy, right? So these two put together, you should have a consciousness of changing the whole world. The third one is instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds, as well as develop knowledge, skills, values, disposition, and thereby reflecting a truly global citizen. So the point or the vision is you take pride in being an Indian to develop India into a Vishwaguru. And you're doing this not just for only India, you're doing this for a world. You want to turn each student into a truly global citizen. So in fact, this is the vision of NEP 2020. So we have told that in the previous slide, so the emphasis is on curriculum, means the implementation of NEP is done in schools and colleges. These are the war fields where the policy comes into enforcement. So the curriculum is implemented in institutions. So NEP has defined what a good institution is. How does it look like? And it has defined 5 characteristics of a good institute. 5 qualities, characteristics, or qualifications, whatever you name it. It is given 5 basic qualities of a good institute. And we are all coming from different institutes, and see, each institute has got its own, what do you say, a flagship point, or a marketing, or what do you say, attractive feature of it. But then every institute which has to be termed good, it is a place where every student feels welcome and cared for. It is an institute where there is a safe and stimulating learning environment exists. There is a good physical infrastructure, and there are a wide range of learning experiences are offered, and then resources, and there is an availability of resources conducive to learning made available for all the students. These are the 5 areas which NEP has defined, which qualifies any institute to be a good institute, right? So we need to just relook into ourselves whether we are satisfying all these 5 areas, or we need to develop any area, or partly we are there and we have a vision to develop this, right? So this is one place where probably institutions are now gearing up. Every student feels welcomed and cared for. Welcomed, that's fine, but then cared for is the part like which all the universities or the human resource, I mean, the Ministry of Education, other governments are enforcing is to have a counseling centers and dedicated counselors, and ensuring that students open to the counseling centers, right? In fact, the eruption or the bringing in of the counseling centers in the education institutions is in fact one of the qualities which qualifies a college or a school to be a good education institution. So now, what does it the NEP, as I've mentioned, the other important point what it mentions is it's critical that our children not only learn, but they are learning how to learn. It's not that only students learn in education institutions, they are learning how to learn, or in fact, the teachers are teaching the students or preparing them for self-learning. It's like an autopilot, what we have, right? Autonomous driving, these are the buzzwords these days. Without a driver, the system goes, the car goes, the airplane goes, autopilot system. So we need our educational system, our curriculum should be designed in such a way that this is also the word learning how to learn is what is spelled in a national education policy document. In fact, there is a good book by Barbara Oakley, available in Amazon. The link I have given down. If someone is interested, like there are very good principles how we can inculcate the habit of self-learning in the student, right? So your curriculum, your pedagogy should evoke the quality of self-learning in the students. Now, a little exercise here, which conveys a very important principle of NEP through an example. But probably for this, I don't know if the organizer, Dr. Sumati, would herself do or would unmute someone to do it. So I want someone to read this as it comes.
Sir, participants, if they want to read out, please raise your hand. I'll unmute them.
Yeah. So anyone can take the initiative.
I could not believe that I could actually understand what I was reading. The phenomenal power of the human mind. According to your research team at Cambridge University, it does not matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last in be in the right place. The reset can be total mess,
The rest
and you
can
can
be
still
the rest can be in a
read it
total
without
mess.
a problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole.
This phenomenon is called typoglycemia. See, every word is a wrong word here, right from first to the last. Probably one or two words here and there are in right place, but otherwise, every word is a wrong word. How much but still, you see, you're able to read everything. In other words, our mind is not reading the words. We are not reading the words, right? The mind is working at a different level. But if you see the rote learning method in our school, how much emphasis does a teacher give on gives on a student in spelling the word correctly? In fact, I had an experience where I lost many marks just because the entire word is I wrote correctly, but probably one letter is missing or one word is missing. I mean, misplaced. I lost many marks in many places. The point what NEP emphasizes is, let us come out of the rote learning method. The schools, the colleges, there is only one method of doing a problem. The teacher teaches one method for solving a mathematical problem, and in the examination, student has to repeat only that method. If the student comes out with another method from a method, probably he gets a 0. So this mindset has to be changed, which is what brings quality, which is what brings multidisciplinary role into picture, which is what brings holistic education into picture. Right? So I purposefully took this example because even at higher education level, we are stuck up to a thought process and we enforce that in the students. And NEP, National Education Policy, is totally against that. Underline the word totally. So moving forward, we see what NEP says, as I mentioned, you need an education system that contributes to equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. The second one is sustainable development and living and global well-being. The third one, this is achieved by pedagogy. So pedagogy should be inquiry driven and learner centered. Inquiry driven and learner centered. Both these two should be in place. Right? I highlighted these two, inquiry driven and learner centered, because unless there is an open learning which is promoted, the curriculum promotes open learning, there can be no inquiry driven. Learner centered is We have seen the previous to previous slide, I guess. The learning facilitates autopilot mode in the student, self-learning. It empowers him to learn things on his own. Because most of the discoveries happen by self-learning. They are not taught. Discoveries are not taught. Inventions are not taught in a structured manner in classroom. Then education must build character. And as I mentioned, the holistic part, it must include your basic arts, then craft, then humanities, games, sports, fitness, your literature, your culture, values, the emotional content of it, in addition to maths and science. Or in other words, NEP, previously we used to have the terms curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular. Curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular. Yeah, can someone tell what is curricular, what is co-curricular, what is extracurricular? It's not like testing your knowledge. Let's have the session a little more interactive. That's the only intention. Curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular. Anyone, someone who raises hands, Dr. Sumati, she can unmute them. Yes,
Sir,
anyone?
we are unmuting, sir.
Yeah, please. Yes, anyone is speaking? I'm not able to hear.
Yeah, I think someone is unmuted.
Yeah, okay.
Please talk.
Is something like a defined syllabus,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is related to the subject the student has taken.
Yes.
Whereas co-curricular is once again outside the syllabus, which is related to the subject one has taken.
Excellent.
And extracurricular is something which is not
outside the curriculum.
outside the curriculum and not related to the subject, but enhances the skills required for any student.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. So extracurricular emphasis on the holistic part. Extracurricular is say dance, music. You have got your college programs or college day events. You've got your sports day. These are all extracurricular. Anything which falls into your curriculum or enhances the knowledge base of the curriculum is called either curricular or co-curricular. The other one is extra. No, NEP erases the walls between all this. There's nothing called curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular. Your curriculum must include all this. Previously, there is a curriculum, and then music or dance or games, these are outside the curriculum. That's where they are called, say, co-curricular or extracurricular. Now, NEP told, no, nothing doing of that sort. Your curriculum must include, in addition to, say, basic maths and science, which is your, say, curriculum, and then co-curriculum, languages, then fitness and sports, these are extracurricular. So all these are brought into your curriculum itself. So now there is nothing called curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular. Right? So this is one aspect. So our colleges moving forwards, tomorrow I'll discuss the higher educational aspect, how the NEP gives the higher education institutions the freedom, independence to develop your own curriculum. Right? What are the elements which has to go into the curriculum? How the universities, the autonomous universities, what powers they have given so that they can transform themselves into degree awarding institutions, right? So various aspects are there into it. Down the line, as we move forward, we'll be looking into that. So now the center of all this, for this to happen, who plays a major role? As I mentioned, educators play a major role, right? So NEP says that the new education policy, it must help re-establish teachers at all levels as most respected and essential members of our society. There is a saying in Telugu. It says "Batakaleka badi pantulu." I don't know how many faculty have heard this adage. right? Probably the faculty of previous generation, they might be very familiar with this. Someone who has not got any job, right? He has lost all hopes of survival, then become a school teacher or say college teacher. They are least paid. This is the scenario, but probably that was one of the India's strength actually primarily was the Guru Sishya Parampara. That was the most, and Guru was the most respected personality in the entire society. That was a stage or a state where we were, and then gradually it has declined to this a level of teaching profession being the most, what do you say, admonished kind of profession. So when we speak of re-establishing India as a Vishwaguru or the knowledge superpower of entire country. So previously we had the Takshashila University, the Nalanda University and all this. The knowledge was disseminated to the Guru Sishya Parampara. The teacher was at the hub of the knowledge system. So NEP says that we have to re-establish that culture where teachers are the most respected members of the society. Why? Because they truly shape the next generation of citizens. The second one, the managements, the institutional managements, the governments, the heads of the departments, whoever are the administrative roles at the institutional level, at district level, at a college level, the state level or national level. The educators, the administrators who are there, they should do everything to empower teachers and help them do their job as effectively as possible. Or in other words, we are going to see tomorrow how there is a lot of flexibility and autonomy given for each individual teacher. Every teacher can design his own subject syllabus framework. Of course, like the approval process will be there, passing with reviewers and all that, right? So the empowerment for the teacher should be given by the management. The third one, we need to recruit the very best and brightest to enter the teaching profession at all levels. So the recruitment process should be such that you filter and you get the best and the brightest are entering the teaching profession, right? So this is possible, and how they are trying to do this, because as I've told you, the teacher must be the center of the fundamental reforms in the education system. So this is mentioned right in page 4 of the policy document. So the policy was very beautifully designed. The way the policy unfolds, it put all the things right in place. Right in place. The prerequisites, it defines what is the emphasis of the policy itself, what led to the policy, the sustainable development goals, right? And then what is a good institute, how it has to be there, who are the torch bearers for this to happen, the teachers, right? For them to do it, there's how management should behave, what kind of facilities management should give, right? So it's beautifully brought. So now a 7-point policy, which the NEP says for the teachers: the recruitment and deployment. The second one is service environment and culture. The third one is the management should provide a continuous professional development. Like, see, today's workshop, whatever is there, it is a continuous professional development sort of thing. Then career management and progression should be there for the teachers. Then professional standards for teachers should be there. There should be special educators. Special educators is educators should be trained specifically to teach Divyangvijans, like the Indian Sign Language, right? Previously, when I was small in Doordarshan, there used to be this Mookie news. They used to news for deaf and dumb. They used to do all kinds of 10 or 15-minute news for, I think, every week on Sundays, right? So where are the teachers now? So special educators should be there, and then approach to teacher education itself. Teacher education is education for the teacher, the pedagogy part and all those things, right? So now I don't want to go into the details of all these things, right? Because the time won't be sufficient. But then I would highlight few things which the policy has told in 2020 and the Ministry of Education has brought in those policies. So national professional standards for teachers, just like we have got IEEE standards, ASME standards, we have got to perform any specific test. You got specific standards. I hail from mechanical department. There are a series of n number of tests to conduct or to evaluate the property of a material, like ASME D638 standard for one kind of test, 7123 standard for another kind of test. So what is the standard which defines a quality of a teacher? So National Professional Standards for Teachers, NPST, it's a document you can download, which is available on the Google. They plan of bringing it 22, but 22 draft has come, but 23 you can see here the document, the finalized document is there available in 23. And improving the service environment through better infrastructure. The teachers should have a better infrastructure. Why better infrastructure? Because they should spend more time on campus. Better infrastructure, not just in labs and these kind of things. Jawaharlal Nehru told universities are the places of modern day temples or universities. So without, who is the most important person in the temple? Yeah, of course, first God is the most important. After God, one who connects the God and the Bhakta is the Pujari, the Archaka, the teacher. The teacher has to be there in the university. So service environment should be there. And then teacher professional development. So now the policy proposes a teacher or a faculty member who has to enter the teaching profession, probably he has to undergo a certain course. He has to clear the course, right? Whether the course, he has not given any framework for that, but then these are the guidelines where the universities or the colleges can implement, right? So merit-based tenure track system, right? For this, like there is a good news and a bad news as well. I don't know, probably it is it's something like good news and bad news. If someone asks you whether the police department is good or bad, what would you say? If you ask an honest citizen, he would say police department is good. If you hold a thief, catch a thief and ask, is police department good or bad? He would say there's in fact one of the worst departments in the government, police department. So it depends on who we are. So this is what it says. The promotions and increment should be based on right? It should be on the basis of performance. Promotions and salary increase is not just based on seniority. It is rather based on performance, right? Meanwhile, faculty not delivering on basic norms will be held accountable. See, when we are saying teachers should be given importance, right? Teacher is the center of it, of implementing this policy. In fact, we have seen teachers, the NEP emphasizes teacher should be re-established as the most respectable position in the society. He should be given all the facilities and freedom. If you give all facilities and freedom to a thief, he's going to loot the society. So teachers are held in a very responsible position, right? So it is the promotions, what NEP policy says is the promotion salary increase is based totally on the performance. And the performance indicators is left up to each university, each college, the performance indicators. In fact, I worked for some colleges, the key performance indicators documents for some of them, and based on the current level, like I worked on the documents and I've discussed with the management and then what is best suitable for them. And faculty who are not delivering, they are made sit on the bench. Right. So in fact, this is a good news and the bad news as well, which I'm not telling this policy speaks of, national education policy speaks of. Likewise, we have gotten countries like Singapore, Malaysia, even US, European countries, we have something called tenure track based, where your promotion, your next 5 years term is based on your performance. The key principles of NEP, there are a lot number of principles. 16 principles is what I would bring out here. The fundamental principles or key principles, what you call. The first one is your curriculum should have flexibility. There is no hard separation between science, arts, right? Technical, non-technical, no hard separations. As we have seen in the previous probably a couple of slides earlier, that your curriculum itself includes everything. It includes arts, science, dance, music, languages, your technical subjects, everything. So there is no curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular. And then multidisciplinarity, which I told you. And then holistic education, another keyword. Then emphasize conceptual understanding. I've given an example for this, the typoglycemia example, how the teacher emphasizes and harasses the students on doing the thing only one way. Doing the thing only one way. It's like washing a pot. Whether you wash on from the left side or the right side, at the end of it, there should be no mud sticking to the pot. That's the only point. And then multilingualism, right? The three-language policy actually is extended. Even the NEP, the 1966 Kothari Commission's recommendations is extended. But then the NEP 2020 gives a front seat to Sanskrit also as one of the languages which can be taught. Then life skills, then synergy in the curriculum. Synergy in the curriculum is the curriculum of, we have got different syllabuses now, like we have got state syllabus, then even in central syllabus we have got CBSE, then we have got ICSE, right? So many kinds of syllabuses we have got. Each state has got again a different state board and all, right? So it's like the government, what it aims is, the policy, what it aims is one nation, one education, one syllabus. That's what it aims at, right? So there should be a synergy in curriculum. So all the state boards probably should sync with the NCERT, right? So likewise. And then respect for diversity and local context, equity and inclusion. Previously, what we have seen are mostly technical aspects of it. These contribute to the emotional and empathetic part of the policy. Community participation, the use of technology, light but tight regulation, unique capabilities, critical thinking and creativity, and then public service. Finally, the end of education is to serve the public, to serve the nation, right? So these are the key principles which are brought in. So some of these principles I'm going to discuss moving forward. Some I'm going to discuss in the higher education perspective of NEP, which I'm going to discuss tomorrow, right? And the key benefits of NEP, as I've told you, these are the 5. So we have seen in the previous 2 slides around 16 different points, of which like the technical educational institutes, particularly the higher education, if we see, these are the 5 which we can readily implement. One is technology-based enabling, holistic development of students, focused on skill-based education, inclusiveness and equity, and promotes flexibility and choice in your curriculum. So of the 16, probably of the policies, the benefits were like higher education institutions can immediately implement in their curriculums are these 5 areas where we can look into our focus, right? And then the early educational system, particularly now I'm going to discuss some aspects of the school education part, and then I'm going to give an overview of the higher education part before I conclude today's session. And the higher education part would be just a glimpse and overview, because tomorrow's session I'm going to deal a little more in depth into it. Right, early education, the childhood education, if you look into, see, what the research shows is 85% of the child's cumulative brain development, it occurs before the age of 6. Before the age of 6, 85% of child's brain development, the basic logic, the foundational logic, the foundational emotion, the languages, what he picks up to the age of 6. So what NEP says is, if you want a good fruit, the seed should be good. The seed, the nurturing of the seed happens at early childhood, up to the age of 6. Right? So this is what it emphasizes, because developing curiosity is there, then logical thinking, problem solving. So the various parts are there here. I'm not going to look into this. So now, what the major changes they have made in the school education? If you see, there's an existing academic structure which has got 10+2 we speak of. The revised academic structure speaks of 5+3+3+4. All right, up to the age of 18. Here, age 10 to 16, and then the 2 years 16 to 18. Right now, the first 4 years, for first 5 years, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. The first 5 years is what you call the foundational school or foundational stage. And the next 3 years, class 3 to class 5, which is from 8 to 11, is the preparatory stage. The third one is middle schooling, right, from class 6 to class 8. And then class 9 to class 12 is the secondary school up to the age of 18. So here also we touched previously 18, here also this is 18. So now from class 6 to class 8 is the middle school, where the students are introduced in the curriculum itself, languages, arts, science, the student is taught a foreign language, the student is taught music, the student is taught Indian classical dance, in addition to the regular subjects. Because at that age, a student will be able to decide which line he has to choose, or he will have an opportunity or inclination to understand where his interest actually lies. Suppose if you say like the genre of movies what you like is say comedy, right? The genre of movie what you like is comedy. If you all along the life, if you have seen only comedy movies, you cannot say the genre what you like is comedy. If I have seen horror movies, if I have seen the sci fiction movies, if I have seen romantic movies, if I have seen X, Y, Z movies, I have seen comedy movies, when I have seen movies of 10 different genres, then I can say from that, yeah, I like of all the genres, I've got the best one I like or I find interest is say comedy. So from from the class 6 to 8, the student should be exposed to a wide spectrum of uh, subjects, curricular. I'm sorry, I should not use the word curricular, holistic part. Let me use the word holistic. So in fact, curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular has been replaced with the word holistic. You can consider it like that, right? So which is what is done in class 6 to 8. And then by the time student comes to class 9, he is now a little more fixed, which is which subject or which stream I have to take. And the flexibility and choice is given now at engineering colleges or this one. Now it should be provided at school level itself from class 9 and 10. And then very interesting concept has come, which was never heard before or seen before in school education, is the internship model. Internships at school level in class 9, 10, 11, 12. They say like it should be a compulsory internship, but then there are operational difficulties, probably at a gradual phase wise, how the schools and colleges, they have to think of this internship. This internship need not necessarily be a technical internship, right? It can be a life lab concept of thing where you send a group of students to old age home, study the scenario, right? So it can be technical, it can be non-technical, it can be social, right? But the internship component is brought at school level itself, right? So you can see how the curriculum, what they framed is impelling the student towards the holistic part, the self-learning autopilot learning system, right? The holistic multidisciplinary educational path, the flexibility that is reflected all through the document. Right now, changes in the school education, quickly like I'll wind up. If not, see the higher education part probably I'll hold for today because tomorrow we'll have again the higher education session. Right, these are the broad outlines of NEP, complete overview what I'm trying to present. The changes in the school education, you can see three major changes. Students learn coding from class 6, then mother tongue to be the medium of instruction till grade 5, and your report card will be a comprehensive based on skills plus capabilities, not just subjects report mark. So why did the policy document all of a sudden speaks of these three? It's not just it's not a blind hit, right? They've done a lot of thought, a lot of research, a lot of examination into the education system abroad. The abroad which is being followed has been very carefully studied before framing out this, rolling out this policy document. If you see, China has implemented coding from class 6, and it's a real success. China doesn't use Microsoft. China doesn't use WhatsApp. China doesn't use Gmail. They have got their own mail. People say it's of security reasons, but they have developed it on their own. In our education system, now in class 6, they introduce Word and Paint. Who the hell is going to use Word and Paint these days? Up to class 8, this is being taught in school level. We are introduced Word Probably now, after the NEP has come, probably there is some changes in some of these schools, like international schools and all. But the elementary schools, the basic schools, which lack the basic infrastructure, they still, in class 7 or 8, they introduce a computer to the student, where he's taught paint in class 8, in class 6. So NEP speaks of bringing or introducing coding from class 6. It's not that you're going to become a software, the government is forcing everybody to become a software engineer, but then they want to bring a certain, trigger certain intellect neurons in your mind. That is their intention. And then mother tongue to be the medium of instruction till grade 5. Why did they do that? Or at least it should be bilingual. Why did they do that? So we are all fascinated about English. If someone is not able to speak well in English, probably we look down at them. So why did NEP bring mother tongue as a medium of instruction? Or at least that should be given as an option for medium of instruction up to class 5, because a lot of emotional bonding. When we are speaking of the holistic, the empathy part, the emotional part should the student should develop. If you see Europe, they made it mandatory. It's a European model where the students are taught up to grade 5, mother tongue is a medium of instruction. Right? So these are some of the changes. Like I don't want to go into the minute details of these things, but then the major things I'm trying to present out, and then the holistic progress report card. It speaks of, right, not just your subjects. It speaks of your. One second. Sorry. It speaks of including other aspects of the student's performance in the report card, right? And then it speaks of foundational literacy by 2025. Universal foundation literacy and numeracy should be there by, means no one in India by 2025. There is no child in India by 2025 who doesn't have this basic literacy skills and this numeracy skills. Basic literacy skills is he should be able to read words, all right, simple sentences, little comprehension should be there. He has to identify the letters. Then numeracy skills, basic addition, subtraction, then solve some little word problem, find the missing numbers, identify and count numbers. You believe it or not, so in my apartment, there is we have a watchman. He doesn't know how to add. We give salary. Suppose his salary is say 10,000. 10,000, if you give 500 notes, he knows like how many notes should be there. That's what he is. He's 57 years age now. Right? So see, NEP also proposes each one teach one policy, where the universities, I mean the colleges, have to take an initiative. They should have clubs where they send students, right, to the schools. And schools should implement something called bagless days, BAG, bagless days, right? So schools and local colleges, they need to work out how the knowledge transfer actually takes place. Then the other one we are speaking, NEP document speaks is ensuring universal access of education to all. How can we do that? You need to build schools, you need to have alternate centers, multiple pathways, then bringing back the dropouts back to school, then learning outcomes, then peer tutoring. All these should be brought into place, right? So the gross enrollment ratio, which the government of India targets by 2035 is 50%. If you look into the gross enrollment ratio for grade 6 to 8 is roughly 91%. But when they come from class 9 to 10, it turns out to be 79% or roughly 80%. And by the time the student completes intermediate, only 55% or 56% of the people are completing intermediate. And when it comes to higher education, it's even less, around 20. National average today, I think it is 26 or 27, exact number, 26 point something, I guess, is the national average of GER. So by the time, see, now from 91, why are we not able to translate this 91 through the different frames? Why is it taking a ramp, a step down function? Right? So these are the concerns, and how that gross enrollment ratio can be increased to 35 has been the process has been given. We need to build more schools. We need to have alternative centers. Alternative centers means as a school, as I was telling, there is a college. Say your college, the CVR college is there, right? You have a club or something like that. Weekly, say 3 hours. You bring the students from your neighborhood, students or elderly people, right, and conduct some basic session. In fact, these can be actually shown as a part of unique practices, social service, or the corporate social or I don't say corporate social responsibility. I say university social responsibility or a part of the schools. Because I'm going to speak in the probably day 5 or day 6, NEP and accreditation, right? How the accreditation system is changing. Now everyone knows that NAC is going for major reforms, right? That aspect also I'm going to speak in great detail, right? And then the uh, primary goals, one of the primary goal of the schooling system means this is like bringing back dropouts. How we bring back the dropouts? Infrastructure should be there in place, right? Volunteering effort should be there to involve community and alumni to bring back the students, right? Learning of outcomes should be very clearly laid down, right? I'm running short of time, so let me go through. And as an initiative of that, there is something called National Institute of Open Schooling, right? If you see the largest open schooling system in the world, open schooling, see, the students who are not able to go to, I mean, the not students, the children who are not able to go to school because of X, Y, and Z reason, right? The government of India has come out with an open schooling system, right? NIOS. And then later on, they also told like schools can come out with state open schools. And many states have come, like your state, Telangana, has an open school society where the student gets his degree up to class 10. Currently, it is only up to class 8. A, B, C systems are there. Levels, ABC levels are there. So almost all the states in the schools have started, in the country have started with the open schooling system. And the degree what you get from the open schooling system, it makes you eligible to write all the exams, a NEET exam, IIT JEE entrance, or MSET or TSET, or whatever sets you call off, right? It doesn't discriminate. But then unfortunately, the universities or colleges, they don't heartily accept this national, the open schooling degree, right? So a certain a paradigm shift in thought process has to be there in uh, the management of the colleges and the universities as well, right? So this I spoke of already, like there are two aspects of it, pedagogical aspect and curricular aspects, right? So both these should be properly balanced, right? So how the pedagogical aspect, foundational learning, then multidisciplinary approach, experiential learning, then vocational education, and then teacher training. These things have to be brought, right? And then the curricular aspects. I've told the school curriculum framework has been released. Then early childhood care and foundation, right? Integration of arts and sport, then the board exams part, right? The assessments part also, I'll discuss that in the instructional design session of this workshop, right? So these are some of the areas which I've already discussed, right? Yeah, now the experiential learning part, I'll conclude probably in another 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, so that we'll have some time for discussion. The experiential learning part. This experiential learning part is one important area where national education policy speaks of, right? So experiential learning is typically the way we understand is the students have to go and do a lab, right? Experiential learning is learning by doing. So the background, if you can see here, the child initially when he tries to walk, he falls down. Then again he tries to get up. And then finally, then you see he starts beautifully walking. First step, second step. It's a celebration for parents. It's a real celebration for parents. We all can just refresh our memories how joyful we were when our child took the first step. His student takes the first step. It's a celebration for us. So is the education system giving an opportunity for the student to fall down, get up, and learn on his own? So for that, you need an experiential learning setup. That can happen at 4 levels, 4 ways. What NEP says is, one is hands-on, which can happen in technical classroom, lab-based experiments, which is in curriculum. The second one is arts integrated, right? The third one is sports integrated. The last one is language integrated, storytelling based. It's not that all these four are applicable for all subjects. Some subjects facilitate that all four can be implemented in experiential learning. Right? So typically now education institutions, both schools and colleges, they emphasize more on this. Right? And then storytelling based pedagogy. Right? Then sports integrated. Probably if you're teaching something on, say, kinematics or dynamics or something in physics, right? Integrate that with something like sports. Integrate something with arts, right? A painting or something. How would you represent this concept in a nutshell, in a line diagram or a sketch? Or you can how a concept is introduced to the students through dialogue between two people. All right. So these are all the experiential learning methods which NEP speaks of. And the forgotten cognitive skill. I'll tell you a simple example which we all can easily relate to. Probably the picture which is going to dissolve in, this is a very popular Ganesh Murthy, right? So now at school level, see uh, the culture of celebrating the Ganesh Puja festival or Durga Puja festival, which is built into our society, if we carefully observe, it was intended to develop the cognitive skills of a child. Previously, children they did not have this big industry of manufacturing the deities, idols for this Ganesh Puja and Durga Puja. Now it's an industry; it's a big industry. Previously, it was not like that. Children up to the age of, say, 5 or 10, they come together with their own hands. Now they bring that into school, something called clay molding. If you go to international schools or even some normal schools, clay molding, clay dough. They've got different colors. You make this shape, you make that shape. Previously, this was actually embedded into our system, our Indian system of education. Children, they used to make different kinds of shapes with their own clay hands and then come together, celebrate, right? And one side point which I would like to add here as well, you see like Ganesh Puja, how we celebrate. There are so many leaves we put, right? So many different kinds of fruits we put, right? And the end of it, we throw everything in the river. There are 21 different types of leaves which actually the scripture says we have to worship. The neem leaves, then the bilva leaves and all. So when everybody throws all these leaves in the river, what happens? Each of this leaf has got a tremendous medicinal property. And the river water becomes aushadha, nectar. It's a side point anyway, but the forgotten cognitive skills, this is what I'm speaking of. We have snatched the children of all this liberty. The cognitive development doesn't happen. The NEP speaks of this. The development of cognitive skills in the early stage, right? So equity and inclusive education, which I spoke of, the system also means the education system should bring in social justice and equality, right? It should eliminate poverty, then social, this is norms actually, there's a spell mistake here. Social norms and customs should bring out, means we should wipe them out. Then tribal communities and scheduled tribes, the disadvantaged groups should be given an opportunity. Then the minority should be given an opportunity for learning and all. So these are the framework. And the highlighting part is accreditation framework for the schools as well. Now we have got NAC and NBA accreditation, right? Then EBIT accreditation, IET accreditation, right? These are international accreditations, and national level accreditations, we have got NBA, NAC, and those kind of stuff. But what is the accreditation part for schools? There is no accreditation part for schools as such. So NEP speaks of the schools also need to be accredited, school quality assessment and accreditation framework. And actually they are working on that framework. It's not yet released. Probably at least a couple of months back when I was just taking the status, it was not released. Right. And then it also speaks of school complexes and clusters, because all of a sudden improving the infrastructure is not possible, because it needs a lot of capital investment, right? So for that, what they do is they identify, means they want to bring both public and private schools, eliminate the differences, right? How it's going to work out, it's still not rolled out, but then taking this as a cue, the managements of private schools, right? They can have a resource sharing, right? Resource sharing, not just infrastructural resources. The NEP policy speaks of even sharing of the teacher resource, knowledge resources, which includes teacher as a primary source of knowledge, right? Through the cluster complex and all, right? And then if we see here, 14.8% of Indian upper primary schools, they have less than 30 students, right? An average number of students per class, 14. And some classes, they have only 6 students. Single teacher schools. There are 85,000, nearly 86,000 schools have only one teacher. Entire schools from class 1 to class 10, only one teacher runs. Right? And of that, primary schools, then 22,000, nearly say 23,000, you can say, upper primary schools are there, and secondary schools with a single teacher. Secondary schools means say up to class 12, there are single teacher schools. Right? So that equity part, the inclusivity part, right? The knowledge sharing resources, the school clusters. So when these schools can be brought together, then the vision of the national education policy, which we spoke of, right, can be achieved, right? These are some of the stats which I cannot discuss right now. Then these are the school complexes, school clusters or complexes. Like NEP in higher education session tomorrow, what we are going to see, we'll see like how NEP emphasizes the consortiums, formation of consortiums, the clusters by technical institutes. 2 to 3 technical institutes, they come together, share the common resources, right? So these are some of the details. And then higher education part, I don't want to, hardly 5 minutes time is there because it's a lunch time. I don't want to disturb everybody. Tomorrow, anyway, the detailed session, we have got higher education part, right? I'll go to the higher education part, the tomorrow's session. So, madam, I think now I'll stop this part because the higher education part, anyway, tomorrow I'm going to discuss in great detail. Yeah, this is the coming slide, 7 or 8 slides will be just an overview of it. So probably tomorrow the people will be joining. So we can have a session tomorrow, continue that.
So shall we take the question and answers, sir, from participants?
Yes.
Yeah, now I request all the participants to either raise the hand or post the questions in the chat window, or you can also post it in YouTube. So we will take all the questions. Again, you can post the questions in the chat window, or you can raise the hand or in YouTube.
Yeah, we can do one thing, madam, like probably unmuting probably will be difficult. If someone posts the question, you as a moderator, you can read the question and we can have a discussion. That may be more easier.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just need to scroll up and down trying to unmute and muting people. It may be a hassle-free system method for you.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, very good afternoon. So it was a
good
wonderful session. I have attended almost 10 or 20 sessions for the NEP, but I found your session was one of the best session I have ever listened to about the NEP. Very clearly elaborated. So I do have one query. I will not take much of the time. Regarding you talked about the experiential learning.
Yes.
But what I have understood from the experiential learning, what the slide you have shown, that was taking care of into the laboratory part or some in the playgrounds.
Yes.
And you gave an example of making the by the clay modeling or somehow.
Correct.
But what I have understood from the policy, I have gone through the policy. It says talks about the experiential learning about that converting the informal education into the formal system. That was one of the part. So is it, I hope I may not be the right, but I would like to have some clarification on it.
Yeah, sure. See, like as in the beginning of the session itself, I told, see, it is a knowledge sharing platform. It's not that I'm more knowledgeable, right? In fact, like I have, before actually sharing the National Education Policy document, there were sessions held in Bangalore, then Hyderabad, Delhi, where some of the IQAC coordinators, educators were called for. In fact, I had attended the sessions right? Anil Sahasrabudhe sir, he was also there. Like, I tried to pick up the idea. The experiential learning can be elaborated at various levels. See, the one aspect, the converting the informal education to formal education, that is one aspect which the policy speaks of. And there are many open-ended areas where the policy leaves it for the reader, leaves it for the universities and the colleges to implement. So this classification, what I've seen, the experiential learning part, the other than what you have mentioned, the holistic education part, whatever is there, typically the current education system, when we speak of experiential, we just take the students into regular lab, which has got a complicated technical systems or whatever it is. But then when you have to really integrate, when the policy speaks of eradicating the curricular, co-curricular, extracurricular, so the experiential learning should also bring in the sports integrated, the arts integrated. That has to be embedded into the technical part, technical education part. Like suppose, no, these are the examples like which I have uh, uh, thought of myself, and when I have heard the sessions from the higher ups, when I attended the workshops like you as well, I have tried to inculcate, bring all that, like trying to solve a social problem or something using AI, right? Technology based, integrating with the society-driven problem, arts-driven problem, right? So it is a completely cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary we are speaking of. The same way is the experiential part also should be multidisciplinary. That was the actually idea I was trying to convey. I totally agree with you, sir. Like the point what you mentioned, the policy document speaks as such, what you spoke of. But there are areas, see, moving forward tomorrow also when I'm speaking about the higher education, there are certain areas where I try to elaborate or give my interpretation of it, the way how I look at it, and try to present the view of some of the stalwarts in the area who have whose presentations I have heard, and then try to present it so that it can be a knowledge sharing. Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
for
you
the
so
wonderful
much. Thank you so
question.
much. Thank you so much.
Sir, there is one more question, sir, from YouTube. What concessions have been put in place for the areas with multiple mother tongues? I repeat, sir, what concessions have been put in place for the areas with multiple mother tongues?
See, as such, previously it was mandated that mother tongue is compulsory. Now student can learn, see, the three language policy, student can learn any three languages. Previously it was mandated, but that is not being implemented at all the states or all the schools, because see, the transition happens over time. That is one concession you can speak of. See, now I'm in, say, Andhra Pradesh. Telugu was mandated for me earlier. Now I can choose any three Indian languages of my choice. That is one concession you can think of, which the policy speaks.
Sir, there is one more question, sir. Why can't the primary schools, that is from class 1 to 5, have the same syllabus like 6 to 10 in all schools in the state level?
That is what actually the policy speaks of. See, now, if we see, not to mention the names of some corporate schools, and this one group of schools will have their own textbooks, another group of schools will have their own textbooks. See, this is what actually the government intervention is required, which is what the policy speaks of, synergy of curriculum. Right? If a student moves, particularly one of my cousin brother, like he is a bank manager. Every 4 years or so, he moves from one place to another place. So he leaves the family in this the home state only. He keeps on moving because why? Because there is no synergy of curriculum. No, sir, not just 6 to 10, even from 1 to 10, NEP policy speaks of that. I don't know, like for this, the state governments have to come forward, synergy, make the curriculum synergy with the NCERT boards, right? It is, as I was mentioning, the policy aims at one nation, one syllabus. That's what the policy aim. But then I think it's a long way to go, at least probably another, if it happens in 5 years, probably it's a good move.
There are a lot of questions on schools and special children. So special children are not accepted by normal schools. Is there any rule for accepting them?
Policy doesn't as such speak. Policy, what it says is There should be schools, even not just schools, actually, even colleges. Even colleges, see, when we fill the NAC data or NBA data and all, how many Divyangajans are there, what are the facilities, in library, what kind of facilities you have, right? Like so many things we fill up, right? The number game we play and somehow we get the rating and all that. But in a
There are no more questions. I think, yeah, participants, if any
separate
questions are
departments.
then
Probably, madam, what you can do is you can copy those set of questions and then mail it to me over. Probably tomorrow's session, I can try to address few of them. Or if there is an
sir, I
overlap,
have read
probably
out
you can
all
do
the
some kind of
questions.
filtering and then forward the question.
No,
All the
I'm
questions.
fine.
Okay,
I
okay,
have
okay,
read out all
okay.
the questions.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think that's all from my end. Any questions are there we can take up? Otherwise, madam, like we can conclude.
Thank you all. On behalf of all our organization team, I thank today's speaker, Dr. P.S. Rama Srikant Garu, for delivering such an insightful and comprehensive overview of NEP 2020. Your expertise and eloquent presentation have undoubtedly broadened our understanding of this significant policy. We appreciate the time and effort you have taken to share your knowledge with us. I would once again express thanks to our Honorable Chairman, Principal, our head, for their continuous support and guidance in organizing this event. Your encouragement and leadership are invaluable to us. A special thanks to our technical team for ensuring that all the audio-visual equipment and online streaming were handled seamlessly. Your technical support has been crucial in reaching a wider audience. Finally, I would thank each and every one of you for your active participation and enthusiasm. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day. Thank you all.
Yeah, madam, a small query or request. Are we collecting day-wise feedback or only at the end of session we are collecting the feedback? How is
Day-wise,
it designed?
we are collecting day-wise and
Day-wise you're collecting,
yeah, end
so,
of the FDP,
okay.
we will also collect the
We'll be glad like if you
notes.
can share the feedback, probably because it will be helping us to refine our delivery or presentations and all, because it's a part of knowledge sharing.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. After this, in 1 hour, we'll
Yeah,
consolidate
yeah.
and I'll send it.
Sure, sure. No, by the end of the day, you can do it, no problem. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I request all
Namaste,
the
one and all.
participants. Sir, 1 second, sir. 1 moment.
Okay.
I request all the participants to please turn on their videos so that we can click a photo of all. I request all the participants to turn on their video for a photo session. I request all the participants to please turn on their video. Yeah, thank you all. We can leave the session. Thank you.
Thank you all. Namaste.